All right, let's talk about something that is absolutely critical, but so often overlooked when it comes to building AI we can actually trust. We're talking about creating a gold standard, your ground truth question and answer set. And believe me, this isn't just some nice to have. It is the foundation that decides if your AI is reliable or if it's just a black box you're hoping for the best with. So, picture this. You've built an AI agent. It's answering questions, it sounds smart, it seems intelligent, but here's the million-dollar question. How do you know it's actually any good? How do you prove its accuracy and its reliability with cold, hard data, not just a gut feeling? It all comes down to this one simple, powerful rule that you hear everywhere, from business to sports, and it is especially true for AI. If you don't have a stable, objective way to measure your AI's performance, you are basically flying blind. You can't make it better systematically, and you definitely can't trust it. Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the AI measurement problem itself. Then we'll talk about the solution, your single source of truth. From there, we'll dissect the anatomy of a perfect QA set, cover 4 different ways you can build one, and wrap it all up with 5 key rules for making sure it succeeds in the long run. So here's the real problem, right? Trying to evaluate AI performance is just, well, it's notoriously difficult. Without a fixed objective benchmark to compare its answers to, you're just left with opinions. And what one person thinks is a good enough answer, another person might see as a total failure. We have to get rid of that ambiguity. And the way we do that, the key to unlocking real, objective evaluation is by creating what we call a single source of truth. This becomes the unchanging benchmark that everything, and I mean everything, gets measured against. So what is this source of truth? It's a ground truth question and answer set. To put it simply, it's a carefully curated list of questions that your users are probably going to ask, and each one is paired with the absolute, perfect, factually correct answer. Think of it like the official answer key for your AI's final exam. This QA set becomes the gold standard for your entire project. It's way more than just a testing tool. It's the bedrock, the foundation of your whole evaluation framework. Every single change you make, every new model you try out, it all gets judged against this one standard. So, what does a great QA set actually look like? Because it's not just a simple 2-column list of questions and answers. Let's really break down the anatomy of what makes one of these things so powerful. You see, a really robust QA set has 5 key components, and each piece adds another layer of detail that helps you capture the full complexity of the task. This is what turns a simple list into a powerful, structured dataset that you can really lean on. Okay, let's walk through these 5 parts. First, you've got the obvious ones, the question and the ideal answer. But here's where it gets really smart. You also need the context or source. Why? Because without it, you can't trace an error back to its root cause. You're just fixing symptoms. Then you have the intent. This maps the question to what the user is actually trying to do, making sure your AI gets the why behind the what. And finally, keywords. These are the non-negotiable terms that absolutely have to be in the answer. All 5 of these together, that's what makes your testing so incredibly precise. Okay, so now you know what it is and why you need it. The big question is, how do you actually build one? Well, there are 4 main methods, and honestly, the best approach is usually a mix of them. First up is manual curation. This is your high-effort, high-reward approach. It's perfect for those really nuanced or critical questions where you need an expert's precision. For sheer scale, you can generate from existing documents, which is a super fast way to build a wide base of QA pairs. Now, to make sure you're solving real-world problems, you can record and annotate live conversations. This gives you unfiltered insight into what your users actually need. And finally, to broaden your set even more, there's synthetic data generation, basically using an LLM as a creative partner. But, and this is super important, you always need a human expert to verify every single thing it spits out. All right, let's move into our final section. Because creating the set is really just step 1. Maintaining it so it stays a valuable asset over the long haul, that's the real game. And there are some essential rules you've got to follow. First, diversity is key. If your set only has easy questions, you'll have no idea if your AI can handle the tough stuff. Second, focus on the important stuff. Prioritize the questions that cover, say, 80% of what your users need or the scenarios with the highest risk. Third, and this one is non-negotiable, keep it current. An outdated QA set is honestly worse than having none at all. Always, always use version control to track your changes. And finally, make collaboration your default mode. Get your experts, your developers, and your business folks all in the same room. Their combined perspective is pure gold. And that really brings us to the most important mindset shift you need to have. Your QA set is not a one-and-done project. You have to think of it as a living document. It has to evolve right alongside your products, your data, and your users. So the big takeaway here is that, yeah, this takes real effort up front, but that initial investment pays off with massive dividends. It impacts everything, from the first tests and debugging all the way to long-term monitoring and continuous improvement. So let's sum it all up. Your ground truth QA set is your single source of truth. It is that solid, unchanging benchmark that lets you confidently look someone in the eye and say, yes, our AI is getting better, and then prove it with data. It's how you build an AI that isn't just smart, but is truly trustworthy. So I want to leave you with this question to chew on. If you had that perfect, objective measure of your AI's performance, a true gold standard, what new possibilities would that unlock for you? What would you finally feel confident enough to build next?